Hey everybody, welcome to Rule and Move Reviews. I'm Kirk, your host. As always, thank you so much for watching. As I'm sure you can tell, we have a very special segment today. That's because today I'm reviewing a game that puts my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on the map of great world cities that have board games named after them. Now, a lot of those games are about shipping or commerce or things that could be a little bit boring, but our game is Pittsburgh 68 and it's about zombies. That's because Pittsburgh is the zombie capital of the world, based on the fact that, as the title of this game entails, back in 1968, George Romero filmed the original Night of the Living Dead here and gave birth to the modern zombie mythos. In fact, I am filming this here today at Evans City Cemetery in Evans City, Pennsylvania. This is where the opening scenes of the original Night of the Living Dead were shot. If you remember, "They're coming to get you, Barbara." That's where that happened, right here. So I'm going to come here, talk about Pittsburgh 68. Let's go back to the table, see how it plays. We'll come right back here and talk about it. All the players except one are going to start the game playing a survivor or a group of survivors. You see here there's survivor cards, and these are mostly just simple horror movie archetypes. If there are 12 cards here, so if there are 12 survivor players, they each get one survivor. If there are fewer than that, these get divvied up among the players as evenly as possible, and the most any one player can have is 3. So you shuffle these up and randomly deal out however many they're going to get. Let's say in this case they're going to get 3. You take them, you randomly reveal one. In this case it's the housewife. She's going to be one of the main characters in the story, and these other characters will come into play later. Each starting character also gets 7 of these survivor points or spoints or S points, just call them points I guess. They represent a character's health mostly, but also they can be added for attack and damage rolls later. You get 7 to start with. You can earn more as the game goes on. The zombie player does not start out with any zombies. He's going to get his zombies out of this deck here. And this deck is made up of items and events, but mostly it's zombies. And the game is played in a series of rounds called reels. And each reel represents like a real film, because the game is meant to be played out like a movie and be paced like a movie. So your first reel has 10 cards, and you go up to 20 in the second, 15 in the third, and it ends quickly with 10 in the fourth. So you cut out that first 10, that's your first reel deck. And what you do is you lay out 3 of these cards. And this is called your dealt hand. On the zombies player's turn, he's going to have the opportunity to take one of the zombies, and that'll be replaced. On the survivor's turns, they'll have the opportunity to take items or events that apply to them and replace those. And once you get through this whole reel deck and clear all these cards, you shuffle everything back together and you build the deck for the next reel. The survivor players have a couple different options on their turn. Each player can either choose to take one overall player action, which is the only action they could take for the entire group of survivors, or they could have each survivor they have revealed take an action of their own. If they want to take the single player actions, there's 2 things they can do. They can take an item out of the dealt hand, like that, and attack with it on the same turn. And they can either attack the zombies that the zombie lord has taken into his or her control, or they can attack the zombies that are out here in the dealt hand. Basically, these are zombies that are wandering around on their own and really haven't gotten too powerful or scary yet. The other thing they can do is reveal a new unrevealed survivor. So you flip that over, and this character becomes part of the story. He's in the game, and they are now available to use in future turns. If they would rather have each survivor take their own action, the options there become A, attack, either with an item they already have or with their bare hands. They can take an item again out of the dealt hand, but they can't use it this turn. They can rest, and that'll earn them a couple more of these points. Or they can move into one of these sanctuary cards. And these are cards that come out of the dealt hand, and they're kind of like just places you can go and get protected. You can't attack or attack while you're in there. And there's a certain number of survivor points to go on this card when it comes out. If you move there and you stay there, you can start earning those points up. You really aren't being very productive for the rest of the team. You're not killing any zombies. You're not, stopping the horde. But you are making yourself tougher and resting up for future turns. The zombie player turns work a little differently. On a zombie player's turn, they have the option to either take a zombie out of the dealt hand, and when you do that, you can either choose to put it by itself, or add it to another group of zombies you already have down. So say I already had this zombie in my possession. When I take this one, I can choose to put it by itself or add it to this zombie and start creating a horde. And this represents the zombies starting out as lone, shuffling monsters that aren't that dangerous, but to start to gather together, turn into a pack, and really start to be a problem. So either way, when you take the zombie out of the dead hound, whether you put it by itself or with another one, you either attack with that zombie or with the newly created horde. The other option you have, and this is something you may want to do if you already have a nice set of zombies out, is you can do an all-out attack, which means you attack with each zombie or each zombie horde you already have. You do an individual attack with each one of those. The third option you have is to cover a card in the lineup, or in the dealt hand. So let's just say that this is what it looks like right here. This is the dealt hand. You don't want the survivors to be able to get that bat too easily, so you draw another card and you cover that bat up. And that represents, you know, in every movie you see, the survivors have to get to something, and something gets in the way. That's basically it. Now they have to defeat this zombie before they can take the item underneath it. Let's talk a little bit about how combat works. As you can see, each survivor has 4 stats: muscle, speed, brains, and guts. Brains and guts are going to come into play mostly for event cards. Your combat is focused on muscle and speed. Muscle is unarmed and melee weapon attacks. Speed is tested for any weapons you shoot or throw. So if you're going to attack, you declare what zombie you're attacking. In this case, we'll attack this guy. If the zombie happens to be in a horde, you still attack them individually. You don't attack the whole group at once. To attack, you roll 2d6, and you roll whatever stat you have to test. So in this case, an unarmed attack, he's going to test muscle, and you just have to roll less to or equal to that number. So he rolled a 6, he passes. So his attack is successful. Before you roll, you can spend survivor points. You have to spend them before the roll, but you can spend as many as you want, and those add to your stat, whatever you're testing. So his attack is successful here. Say he happened to roll a 4. If you roll doubles, you get a bonus to your damage equal to what number you roll doubles of. So here he'd get +2 bonus damage. Your damage is a 1d6 roll. And here he has 5 damage, plus his bonus 2. So he beats the zombie's strength of 5, and he kills this zombie. If he had rolled lower, or he rolled lower than the zombie strength, nothing would have happened. Zombie attacks are kind of similar. If the zombies are in a horde, you add their numbers together for their strength. But it's the same thing. You have to roll lower than their strength number. If you roll lower, it's a hit. If you roll higher, it's not, and you miss, and the survivor's fine. If you do hit, then you roll damage, same way, 1d6, and you do that much damage to the survivor. At this point, the survivor has a choice. He could either spend survivor points equal to the amount of damage done and just make it go away with that. If he's unable or unwilling to spend the points, then he has to make a flail check. And flailing is basically just trying to get away from the zombies as quickly as you can, so it's a speed test. You roll, and if you fail, if you pass, you're fine, you get away. If you fail, that survivor is killed by the zombies. He goes back in the deck, and he gets shuffled in, and he may come out in later reels as a zombie, and those survivor zombies are pretty tough. If that leaves the player with other survivors, he's fine. If he has no one revealed, he's going to have to reveal somebody in the next turn, but he'll keep playing. If the survivor player has no survivors left, at that point he becomes a zombie player. And on his next turn, he'll start taking zombie turns the way I explained before, just like the Zombie Lord does. So you're going to see a shift in a balance and power where you start with one zombie player, but slowly, you're going to start seeing more zombies pop up. And before you know it, it's likely the humans might be outnumbered. So that's the way it's going to go. If any human players can survive those 4 reels, they're going to win. If the inevitability of the zombie horde takes them all out, then the zombies are the winners. I really enjoy the look and feel of this game. That stark, bleak, black and white artwork really fits the feel of a 1960s low-budget zombie horror movie. So the look of it is great. I like how it plays out in acts and reels like a movie where the tension slowly builds and then it comes to crescendo and things get overwhelming. You have to try to survive that. I like how the gameplay works, how you start out with just a few zombies out there, and they slowly gather into giant hordes that you can't stop, just like in a real movie, just like in Night of the Living Dead. You start with one zombie on the lawn, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, you have a horde, and it really feels that way. I like how you start with a few main characters, a few player characters, survivors, and then you introduce new ones as the game goes on. That feels very much like one of those old movies. As far as the actual gameplay goes, the mechanics, a few things about that. First of all, the box says 3 of 13 players. I wouldn't do any less than 5, 6, 7 minimum. It's meant for a big group. Also, it's not meant to be competitive. And I say that for 2 reasons. One, with a smaller group, you can't, it's just not balanced well. For a smaller group, it's very easy for zombies to dominate a small group of survivors than it is if it's spread out. Secondly, the game isn't really designed for winners or losers, and that's a hard pill to swallow. For a lot of gamers, I know that, but it's much more of an experience. If you play with a small group, play in a competitive setting, then you're going to tend to have disappointment, because the way the mechanics work, the human players become zombies. So what you have happen is you have a zombie player who technically lost by, or a human player who technically lost by becoming a zombie. He comes over, and now he can win by beating the human player who did the best job of being a human. So games like that end with arguments of who really won, who should have won. So it's just not how you want to play it. You want to play with a big group who can accept the fact that this is just a movie to be played. That's what the game is. It's a movie that you play out. And who want to do that, who aren't going to take it seriously, who aren't going to get upset if they turn into a zombie. If they don't get upset, if their guy who was their friend a minute ago is now a zombie and attacks them, who can laugh all that stuff off, that's the kind of group you want. Nice party game, you've got a Halloween party to go to, good game to take it to. So if you have a group like that can play a game like that and have fun and enjoy it, definitely check it out. Pittsburgh 68. Alright everybody, thanks for watching Roll and Move Reviews. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think about Pittsburgh 68, tell me your favorite zombie game. Please be sure to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're making our big push this month. Remember, thanks for your support. Visit our Alter Ego website, our sponsor website. Great deals, great games, great prices. If you want to watch some of my older videos, you can get them on YouTube, Board Game Geek, Facebook, or the Alter Ego game site. If you want to get a hold of me directly, email me at rollandmovereviews@gmail.com, but I suggest you do it quickly. Otherwise, that's it for me, guys. Hopefully I'll see you later. Have fun out there.